So this week, rather than post a new video, I thought that it would be kind of a fun thing to sort of review the various comments that have come on my channel and respond to any questions or comments or anything like that that I feel like need to be addressed. I'm out of the Resident Evil 2 miniatures to paint, although I have ordered a new set of miniatures from them. I got all of the alternate sculpts that I think came with the Kickstarter set, so it's got like the alternate sculpts of the survivors as well as some extra zombie models. So I'll have those coming in the next couple of weeks. So I'll probably start the next series to be those. But why don't we just go ahead and address some of the various comments that we've got on here. One of the regular commenters, Gremlin Spotter, who I've also responded to a lot of these questions via the comments already, but I figured I would just make sort of a video out of it. If I buy the Army Painter Mega Paint set, will that have all the paints required to paint all Doom miniatures? And he's asking that on the Cacodemons, the Doom Cacodemons video. The answer is yes. All of these videos that I'm posting on this channel, all of the paint jobs that we're going to be doing, we're going to be using that Army Painter Mega Paint set. Now, I've got a link to the American, the US Amazon page in the description for every single one of these videos, so you can go to it from there. I don't know the availability in other regions. I think that Army Painter is pretty reliably available in a lot of other regions of the world, so if you're not US based, like I am, then you might have some good luck with those. But yeah, they've got everything that you need. The only thing that they don't have are the varnishes that I use, which I also address in the various videos, as well as the different brushes. It comes with one brush, and it's an okay brush, but it's not the best thing ever, but it's functional. Also from Gremlin Spotter, do you prime your miniatures prior to putting on the base coating? No. So as long as you've got a single solid layer of paint on there, whether it's an actual like an actual primer, or just a layer of paint, either of those will work. You don't really need to do a primer and then a base coat. And he was asking that on once again, the Doom Cacodemons video, because I started with a base coat of Dragon Red, I think, for them. So no, I did not do a primer first, I just did a layer of Dragon Red. Sometimes it's easier to just do that than it is to do a spray primer and then go over, things, but it just depends on the paint job. Again from Gremlin Spotter, great job painting these. Mine didn't come out quite as nice, but they were good enough to play the game at least. I'm having a hard time keeping a point on my brushes. Bought the Army Painter brush set, and after painting imps, possessed soldiers, and cacodemons, none of my brushes have a point anymore. Any advice? Yeah, that's kind of one of the most frustrating things about painting miniatures, is that depending on the types of brushes that you get, the lifespan is not always the best. Sometimes they just get worn down. Sometimes the bristles will get kind of like frayed. I might cut to a little video of me just how I clean off all of my brushes, because how you clean off your brushes is a big thing. Also, if you are doing a particular step, he was asking this question on the Possessed Soldiers video from the Doom board game. And those are a lot of them. There are 8 of those in that board game. So if you do a single step for each miniature, but all at once, so you're painting every single, miniature, you're going to have that paint on your brush for a while, sometimes up to like an hour or something like that. I really would advise just every 10 or 15 minutes cleaning off the brush completely, because if you keep paint on there, it can stain the bristles, and that's something that you want to avoid. A couple of people have asked this. Frederick Roscoe asks, what do you use to keep the models on those crate blocks? I use one of those Citadel miniature holders that only clamps on one model at a time. And similarly, Calgarian Mike asks, are the cube handles DIY? If so, what do you use? Magnets? So I actually just use sticky tack. This is used for putting up posters, for all sorts of stuff, but it's a very stretchy, malleable sort of substance, and what you can do is you can just put this onto the base of a miniature and then just put it onto anything that you want to hold on to. The cube handles are DIY to a certain degree. A friend of mine actually, well, some friends of mine made those for me, Ben and Monica. If they are watching, thank you for making those. They actually 3D printed them, and they are made to resemble the crates from Crash Bandicoot. So that's just a fun little extra thing there. Neko-chen? Sorry, I might be mispronouncing that. Says, I never do varnish. For some reason, it eats into the paint and somehow makes the lighter shade disappear and darker color go a shade deeper. I think I see what... I actually addressed that in one of the videos, I forget which. And I can kind of see that. When you apply a layer of varnish of any kind, it tends to lighten the light colors and darken the dark colors. So sometimes it actually increases the contrast between the colors. If you've got really thin layers of paint on your miniatures, then the varnish will especially have that effect. But if you use multiple layers, or if you make sure to do some extra thickness on dry brushing, for example, then it's not a huge deal. But I like to have varnish on there just because it increases the lifespan of the miniatures. The paint doesn't rub off as easily. It's just a little bit more solid. But yeah, varnishes are completely optional. You certainly don't have to do them. It's just up to you. Scott asks, with regard to the Resident Evil 2 board game and the police zombies that came from them, do you have all the expansions and add-ons for this? Would love to see everything painted. Your guides are extremely helpful. I'm a new painter, and this tutorial makes it look so easy. Keep up the good work. Scott, thank you so much for those kind words. I do really, really appreciate that. I'm glad that you feel like you can do this and that I'm being helpful for you. I don't have a lot of the expansions and add-ons for the Resident Evil 2 board game, although, as I mentioned earlier, I did order the alternate sculpts that come that you can buy separately from the core game. So I will be posting those as soon as I get them. And then maybe if I can find the monster packs for cheap, I might look into it. I've had some people actually refer me to like some eBay sellers and that kind of thing that oh, you can buy individual miniatures here, but I'd kind of rather just get each set complete, and that way I can post one video or like a couple of videos for one set of miniatures, just to make it a little bit more consistent and a little less scatterbrained. It's like, oh, this week I'm going to be painting this hero from this pack, or this survivor from this pack, and then this next week I'm going to be painting this monster from this different pack. So I would rather just have a little bit of consistency, but we'll see. Jedrick Roscoe? Hedrick Roscoe? Again, I'm so sorry. I've been dreading touching the liquors, but with this tutorial, you really blew my mind with how simple and great they are. Again, very excellent work. Thank you so much for those really kind words. I do really, really appreciate that. Yeah, that's the thing about the liquors, is that they're pretty simple if you just do a really simple dry brushing technique, because all you need is really just a single coat of red, and then you can just dry brush the color scheme that you want. You can use, I think I use Barbarian Flesh, although you can use, Elven Flesh, Tan Flesh, whatever sort of like flesh scheme that you want. Pepe Le Tube, maybe? This thing under the dog's foot, it's the head of a police officer. I found out because of this large hat, and then the picture becomes more clear. By the way, would love to see Ivy and the Spiders if you can grab Monster Box 3. Keep up the nice little series, love it. Thank you so much, Pepe Le Tube. I did not know, he's referring to the zombie dogs, because one of them is, I think in the video said that he's just sitting on top of a pile of gore or something like that, or he's got a pile of gore underneath one of his paws. I guess it's the head of a police officer. I didn't know that, but hey, there you go. Now you know. Phantom Wolf says, when you say imagine a character wears something specific, does that imply you've never actually played Resi 2? If not, you're missing out. Anyways, amazing video. Super excited to get this game and try using this as a guide. So a couple of things about that. When I say imagine something or other, I use that as sort of a colloquialism, where I just say, I would imagine something. Usually when I say that, it's like, I would imagine this particular fabric is made of this material, so it would be this color. Or I imagine that this is supposed to be based on some sort of whatever, so we'll use it. So I just sort of use the term imagine as a way of saying I interpret or I think that this is. But to answer the second part of your question, I know it sounds blasphemous, but I have not played the original Resident Evil 2. I know, it's really, really bad. I did play the remake that came out 2019. I did play the Resident Evil 2 remake, and it was okay. I get annoyed at certain mechanics in games, and honestly, when Mr. X showed up, I just sort of thought, it just became tedious to me. That doesn't mean the game is bad by any stretch. A lot of people really like it, and that's fantastic, and I'm really glad that it has the following that it has, and that people are excited and love it. That's great. Yeah, it didn't really do anything for me. Although I did play I have played over the years far too much Resident Evil 4. I've played that a lot. If they were to make a board game of Resident Evil 4, I would absolutely buy that up. And I know that Kickstarter, I think Steamforged, via Kickstarter, is making Resident Evil 3 the board game. So could be that in the future we'll see Resi 4. Don't know. We'll just have to see. Brandon Bertucci says, "Boo! Should have used original color scheme with regard to Birkin Stage 3. He was a tan type of skin, but not normal, sort of gray, brown, green type. But good work." Well, thank you, Brandon. And I know you're being a little silly with the boo there. I'm not. I take no offense to that. I honestly thought that I was using the right color scheme, though. Oh, I'm sorry. I pulled up some, images just online, and what I was seeing pretty consistently was that sort of, black and gray sort of like color scheme, and then like the white or, ash gray sort of like claws. So I thought I was doing the right color scheme, but oh shoot, I guess I didn't do my research well enough. Sorry about that. Scott asks, what is a good ash gray alternative for Vallejo model colors? Vallejo is another brand of paint makers. They're okay. I've got a few of their paints. They specifically got a line called Model Color. I would say that a good alternative for ash gray would probably just be their Sky Gray, or Sky Gray. You could use that, or Light Gray. Honestly, it doesn't like super matter. So the colors that I use, I just say for the sake of if people bought the Army Painter Mega Paint set. But if you don't have that paint set, and you're buying all these paint colors separately on your own, you don't need to get the exact same colors. You can just get something that is approximate to it. So another thing that I do for all of my videos is I put a picture of the paint that I use for any given step there, not just for the sake of saying, here's the exact paint that I'm using, but I also put that there so that people can see what the actual color is, because the color shows up on the bottle. So you can just get something that's sort of approximate to that. You don't have to get the exact same thing, just whatever is most easily available to you and the closest to that. And it looks like that's pretty much it for now, so keep commenting on the videos. I would be happy to respond to any of them via comments, or via this format of a video right here. Maybe I'll make these every so often, or maybe I'll make one of these following the completion of any type of board game that I do. So yeah, maybe we'll just do that. I don't know. I'm still kind of messing around with the format of this channel. So in the meantime, until the new set of the Resident Evil miniatures come in, I've got a couple of things that I was thinking about doing. A friend of mine actually just gave me his copy of the Witcher board game. It doesn't have a lot of miniatures in it. It's only got 5 miniatures in it. He also already painted them himself, so I would have to go through a process of stripping the paint off of them if I wanted to do that. And the board game I don't think is even in print anymore, so I don't know how popular it would be, or if people even want to see that or not. I'll gauge interest here. If people want to see that, then okay. And if you say, no, I don't care, then that's fine too. I've also got the Fallout board game. I've actually painted those for my previous channel before, but I might, redo them as like a singular sort of video, since that's another board game where there are only 5 or 6 miniatures that come with it, so you can knock out all of them pretty quickly. Got those. Oh, I do have the expansion pack, the most recent expansion pack to Mansions of Madness, which was Path of the Serpent. I really like Mansions of Madness a lot. I don't know how other people feel about it. I don't know if people are interested in that or not. Another thing, actually, I just thought of too. If I do this one, it's going to be a long series, so I'll sort of gauge interest to see if people want to see it or not. But I do have the core set to Massive Darkness. Those are a lot of miniatures, though, so I'll probably only do that if people really express interest in seeing that. It's just, again, it's a lot of miniatures. And it's also kind of an older board game, too, so I feel like there are a lot of tutorial videos for that online as it is, although I don't know. That's pretty much it. If there's anything else that anybody wants to see, let me know in the comments, and we'll see with regard to availability or whatever. I hadn't planned on getting any of the Resident Evil 2 expansion stuff until those videos, became a little bit more popular and people started to engage and comment. So if people say, hey, I want to see such and such, or I'd really like to see this particular board game, let me know and maybe we'll see. I think that one thing people would probably like to see, also from Steamforged, which is the company that made the Resident Evil 2 board game, is I know that there is a Dark Souls board game. Although, like Massive Darkness, I know that has a lot of miniatures in it. It's also very expensive, so I don't know if that's something that I would want to invest a lot of money into or not, but it's just an option. But in any case, I think that I've answered pretty much all the questions and comments that I wanted to address. So thank you everybody for watching. I'm not going to give you the spiel about liking videos and all that because I find that tedious and tiresome, and I'll do that for my actual tutorial videos, but I won't do that for this, so I won't take up any more of your time. Thank you everybody for watching. We'll see you next time on Easy Mini Painting. If you have any more comments or questions, just let me know. We'll see you then.